to Destination Fulfillment. My name is Rodney.
And I'm Janine.
And this is Life Coaching for Business Owners, where we go through everything you will need to be an awesome business owner, to take your business to the next level, and take your life to places that you could not even imagine.
So if someone told you there are many ways to become successful, you'd probably say something like,
well, duh.
But I look at society and I see most entrepreneurs doing one of two things. They're looking to get rich quick with little effort, or they're working day and night, 16 plus hours a day without ever taking a day off, taking a breath, relaxing.
Yeah, that was definitely me when I owned my first business. I was easily working 90 to 100 hours a week, and just like sun up to sun down, and like you said, never taking a day off. And it can get really tiring. It could burn you out.
Yeah, and so today we're going to address what we call the hustle mentality, which is basically this mentality around working nonstop versus or trying to get rich quick, right?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of influencers out there on social media talking about the hustle and side hustle and getting up at 4 a.m. and hustle and just feel like try and promote this lifestyle that you always have to be on, and you always have to be in like this rush type of state where you're stressing yourself out almost.
Mm-hmm. And believe us when we say it can be counterintuitive to accomplishing your goals.
Absolutely.
You're not guaranteed success over...
Yeah, one's not going to give you the success when another won't. It's going to really kind of depend on your lifestyle or your habits, really, and what your goals are, what your type of business is going to determine like the pace at which you can work and at which you can grow. And it's all going to depend, like I said, on your personal goals, and what your burnout point or boiling point is going to be, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, say you're of the mentality where you're like hustle, always on, working 100 plus hours a week, and you reach your point of success, whatever that is. Say it's getting $100,000 in revenue.
Whoop, whoop.
But what's good with the $100,000 in revenue if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? Yeah.
Yeah, you buy that boat, that was your whole game plan, but now you have a thriving business, and it's only thriving because you're working 100 hours a week, and now you've bought that boat. That was like your milestone for success, that you wanted to buy a boat. But you know what? We're getting into summer now, and what good is a boat if you can't use it? Because you know that if you start taking time off, all of a sudden your business might suffer, and then you're gonna have to give it up anyway. So now you're afraid to even take time off to enjoy yourself.
And there are ways around that, but it starts with keeping yourself out of this always-on hustle mentality.
Absolutely. So today we really want to focus on this hustle mentality. I know we said, there's the get rich quick and there's the hustle mentality. And I think we're going to really address the, pull the veil off the, get rich quick mentality, if you will, at another date, maybe the next episode. Wink.
We'll touch on it a little bit this episode.
Yeah, but we will touch on it a little bit, but we really want to stress to you to not stress. Like, don't overwork yourself, because like Janine was saying, it can be really counterintuitive. If you hit that boiling point or that burnout, you're gonna want to quit. You're gonna want to give up.
And I mean, this is common for both business owners and employees. You know, you don't have to be a business owner to feel like this.
Yeah, this is anybody who's like going after your dreams, going after your goals. But you're working yourself to death.
Yeah, and like Rodney said, when he owned his first business, he was working 100+ hours a week, and that's not an exaggeration. And with my last corporate job, there were weeks where I was working 90 hours a week. I don't think I ever quite hit 100, but I was working ridiculous hours. I was in a bad mental state. I was constantly exhausted, and I ended up having mental health issues because of it.
Yeah, I remember, like, for a while there, you were dealing with people in, like, 4 different time zones that you had to get on calls with, and you had to be on calls from 5 a.m. to sometimes as late as, like, 8 or 9 p.m., and just, burning yourself out.
And it's not sustainable. And by the time I left that job, I was so exhausted that it literally, I think about 3 weeks ago, I kind of looked at myself and I was like, I finally don't feel tired. And I left that job in January, and it's now June. So
yeah, she left for a reason, if you couldn't tell. So I'd like us to kind of go over some statistics and what others have said in some very accredited media outlets. And you kind of read up on that article, so I'm going to let you kind of describe it.
Yeah, sure. So this focuses on the idea that as part of the hustle mentality, that you have to be up at 4 a.m. every morning, and early bird gets the worm, and hustle. And so Fast Company recently released an article that was titled, "You Don't Have to Get Up at 4 a.m. to Be Successful." It's a really good read. I'll try to remember to link it in the show notes.
I won't forward this to The Rock because that's his success plan.
But the thing is, what we've as a society come to believe, that you can only be a successful business owner, a successful entrepreneur. I'm struggling saying successful.
Struggling with that word, successful.
But you can only be successful if you wake up at 4 a.m., you go to the gym at 4:30, you start answering emails at 5 a.m., and you don't shut off till 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
Hustle, hustle, hustle.
And what this article shows us is that's not true whatsoever.
Based on statistical research, statistical analysis.
Yep. So there's no one. First of all, there's no one type of entrepreneur, right? There's no one. Anybody can be an entrepreneur.
Then there's no one size fits all, approach to success.
Right. So this article states that only 15% of the world's population's natural circadian rhythm is set to be an early riser. That means only 15% of the population is naturally inclined to get up at 4 a.m. and hustle, do their job, or work on their business or whatever. As we've mentioned in previous episodes, that's more of a Rodney type.
That is. But Janina's not that type.
I'm not that type.
Janina's the opposite. She's actually a lot more productive in the afternoon and evening time of day.
And the stats from this article go to show that 20% is set to be late risers, or as the article puts it, wolves, and everyone else falls in the middle. So you don't have to be an early riser, you don't have to be a late riser. Like I was telling Rodney the other day, my preference, if I were to be able to 100% set my own schedule, which I pretty much am right now, which is nice, is get up probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock at the latest, and get moving and start work probably about 10 o'clock, maybe 11 if I'm lucky.
She's talking AM, by the way.
Yeah, AM. And, and I feel my most productive and my most creative in what's considered after hours, probably between 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. And Rodney looked at me and goes, well, what time would you go to bed? I'm like, probably midnight, 1 a.m., and that's normal for me. That's how my body functions. And that worked when I was in college because I could take night classes, and it worked for me. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's going to work for Rodney. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Ultimately, it boils down to self-awareness and being true to yourself and knowing what's going to work for you. Are you somebody who's just always naturally woken up with the sun? You know, sun rises, you're up, you wake up, you have a lot of energy in the morning. Then great, you're like me. You know, you're somebody who can get up and attack the day early in the morning. Whereas Janine and many people, I'm sure, listening to this podcast, because we have hundreds of you listening now, could be waking up at 10 a.m. or even later, and that's your natural rhythm. That's where you're feeling. It's ultimately about what time of the day for you to wake up do you feel most energized when you wake up, because ultimately it's about maxing out your hours, your productivity. It's making yourself the most efficient possible.
Yep, and good sleep is a big part of that.
Major part of that.
And so it's funny to me because a lot of times when throughout my life, when I've told people like I like to sleep in, I still have that like teenager like I want to sleep all day kind of thing. Not all day, but
I have a sister like that.
And people look at me and they're like, oh, well, you're just lazy, or you must be depressed, or there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. My circadian rhythm is just set differently. And I was actually really surprised because also in this Fast Company article, they listed a couple of CEOs and founders who are very, very successful that are, quote, wolves, that are late risers. So there is Aaron Levy, the CEO of Box, which is a cloud sharing business. It's like Dropbox kind of, or Google Drive. Alexis Ohanian, who's the co-founder of Reddit, also married to, I can't remember if it's Venus or Serena Williams, one of the two. My tennis friends are going to kill me for not knowing that. And Pharrell Williams, the music producer and artist. They all have late starts to their day.
Yeah. By the way, Pharrell Williams, if you're listening, shout out. I'd love to know your skin care regimen, because that guy, I mean, I think he's in his 50s now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He looks like he's in his 20s.
Yeah. Looking good, Pharrell. So, anyways, the point is make sure that you're setting yourself up for success by allowing your body to recoup in a time that's natural for it. And that will help you affect your level of success. Now...
Okay, I looked it up. I'm sorry. He's 48 years old.
Okay.
So he's not quite 50.
Not quite 50. Sorry, Pharrell. Anyways, so now the reality of life, right, is that sometimes we own businesses where the nature of the business might dictate the hours that you have to open and operate. For example, if you own a coffee shop, like you love coffee, you're like, I'm going to open a coffee shop, but you're a late riser. Well, your main market, your main customers are going to be coming to your coffee shop in the morning because that's when coffee's most in demand, right? Yep. So sometimes you have to work around that.
Or you just choose to operate or own a business that works to your schedule. But, sometimes you have a great opportunity to take over a business, and that's how I actually got into owning my first business. Is I got an awesome opportunity to purchase this business from the former owners, who were good friends, and I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So I went into a business that might not have been my first choice, but it was a excellent experience for me, and that might be where you're at. So yeah, you definitely want to work yourself around that. Maybe, I don't know, get a business partner that has a schedule where they're most productive early in the morning. They can get there, they can do the morning shift kind of thing, and you can come in a little bit later, help during maybe a rush hour at, lunchtime, and then your business partner is able to go home, get some sleep, and you work like the closing shift.
Mm-hmm. That's one way around it. You could also, maybe if you're like a super night owl, you can have a 24-hour or a nighttime coffee shop.
Yeah.
For cater to those other night owls.
You can also, I'm assuming your goal is to eventually have employees where it's not required of you to be at the storefront, the entire time it's open.
Mm-hmm.
So work your schedule around your employees' schedules. Like plan your employees' working schedules to, one, make them most productive with what their natural clock is if you can,
mm-hmm.
and let them know, like, hey, you're going to work this shift. I'm not available until 9 a.m. Unless it's an absolute emergency, and work it that way to where your employees are productive and you can come in and be productive. That again goes into finding the right employees for your business, the ones that you can trust and rely on them to operate your business like it's their own.
And by the way, we have an entire worksheet based around this, so if you're interested in it, hit us up and we'll send it to you for free.
Yeah, shoot us a direct message on LinkedIn. You can go directly to our website and we can get that to you. It's an entire worksheet all about how to hire and retain the best quality employees.
So anyway, when you mentioned about doing your hours around the employee hours and telling them, like, setting the standard, like, hey, I'm not available until 9 a.m. unless it's an absolute emergency. Make sure you define what an absolute emergency is.
Good point.
Like, if they're like, hey, I can't get the register open because I don't have a key, because just maybe you forgot to give them a key, that's kind of an emergency. You need the register open.
If you want revenue, you need a register.
Right? If it's like, hey, this customer came in and they said the coffee tastes bad, then your employee should be able to handle that themselves.
Yeah, that's hey, I'm really sorry, let me make you a fresh cup on the house, and, let your, have your employee, like, let you know kind of thing. That's a comments box kind of thing.
Right.
Issue.
Does it need, so the question is, does it need to go in the comment box, or is it actually an emergency? If you lost power, that's kind of an emergency. If the kettle caught fire, unless it can be put out with a fire extinguisher. Unless it can be put out with a fire extinguisher and everything's okay.
No, even still, if they can get that out. I'm sorry. Disclaimer here: if there's an emergency, call 911. Do not call 911. If you have,
She's talking about a small fire.
Yeah, okay. If you have a small fire and you can put it out yourself with a fire extinguisher, great. That's still something you need to call your boss for. But if it is like hey, let's start roasting some marshmallows on the building, that's a 911 call, and then call the boss. Just want to put that out there.
We're not telling you to not call 911.
Yes, call. Yeah, if there's an actual life-threatening emergency, or even if there's nobody in the building and the building's on fire, call 911.
So, anyways, to get back on track, unless it's a true emergency, your employees can do their job, right? That's why you hired them. The work will be there when you get there, or it'll be there tomorrow if your leaving. You know, cut off, like when you set your hours, keep to them. Cut yourself off. You know, it's like, oh, I just need to finish this one spreadsheet. I just need to get in this last order. It'll be there tomorrow. The world's not going to fall to pieces if you don't get it done.
Right. And we know and understand from firsthand experience, if you're going to start a new business, you have to go into it knowing that you're going to be working a lot of hours in the beginning, especially. You're going to be working a lot of hours to get things running in a smooth fashion, get employees hired, and have everything running to where it's almost automatic, that it is running like clockwork, as they say.
A well-oiled machine.
A well-oiled machine. And you're going to have to anticipate putting in those hours. We're not saying that, oh, you're never going to have to work a 12-hour day. You're never going to have to put in 100 hours a week. You probably, most definitely, will have to do that, especially in the beginning stages of your business. But it's all about having an end goal in mind and to be able to get back to your natural life. I mean, we want you to have the work-life balance that you've been striving for, because very few people go into business with the idea of, I'm gonna work in this business every day for the next 70 years until like I can't walk in the door anymore, and then even then I'm still gonna roll in a wheelchair. I mean, there are a few people like that just want to put their entire life into their business, but most of us are looking to meet some type of financial goal, a personal goal, maybe have something to leave behind to your children to take over for you when they become of age, and hopefully retire young enough to where you can live the life of your dreams with your significant other, your children, your grandchildren, and really just dote upon them in retirement. That's what most people's goals are. So I want to be clear, you are going to have some rough days, you're going to have some long days, maybe some sleepless nights, but that shouldn't be the norm. This hustle mentality where you have to be on all the time and you go, and just, you're gonna burn out. There's no way around it. You can't sustain that.
You're gonna end up losing the passion for the reason why you opened the business to begin with.
Right.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, especially if you're opening a business that has been like your dream, your baby, and you're starting a brand new business from scratch. This is obviously something that you're passionate about, and it is very easy, especially when you're putting yourself in unnecessary stressful situations. It's easy to start losing focus and losing your why, losing your reason for getting into business, like you said.
And when you lose that, it's really hard to get it back. I can speak from experience. But so this concept of working, setting your hours, working what's necessary, it coincides with this idea of that you also need to realize, are you working a lot of hours and being busy versus working effectively, right? So if you have to put a 12-hour day in, is it necessary to put the 12-hour day in? Are you being effective? Are you accomplishing goals? Are you maximizing your output?
Yeah, we've touched on it already a little bit. We want you to have an optimum productivity. Make yourself the most efficient you can. If you're working when you're already tired, you're not working at your best. that's why it's best for you to stick to your natural schedule for your sleep schedule, so that you can maintain that optimum level of productivity. Because those people that say, oh yeah, I work 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, and I'm just not seeing the results that I want to see. But that's when, as a business coach, I sit down with a client like, okay, walk me through your typical 10-hour or 12-hour day. Like, what exactly is going on? What is it that you're doing? And when we really, we break it down to 15-minute increments. When you really break it down, there's a lot of unnecessary wasted time and activity in there. Chit-chatting, gossip,
scrolling on social media.
Yeah, taking, more breaks than necessary. And if you really put in all the time that they were actually doing real work, they're working an 8-hour day.
Or less.
Or less sometimes.
And
then just spreading it out longer.
And to that point also, if you're staying late for work, but you're constantly being distracted because you want to be somewhere else, like you want to be at home with your kids, or you want to go to the bar with your friends, or you want to do something else, but you feel like you have to stay at work to get whatever done, you're just making things worse for yourself. Put the laptop away, put the project away, set it down, go do what you want to do, and come back to it in the morning or the next afternoon
with a fresh set of eyes, right after a good night's sleep. So on the other end of the spectrum, or on the other hand, if you will, is falling into this idea of get rich quick. The get rich quick schemes, the pyramid schemes that are out there. Thinking you can become an overnight success without putting in the hard work. There are many examples of people who've been successful, and they've been working on this for like the last 10, 15 years, and all of a sudden they come out on the scene, and now they're everywhere on social media, they're doing television interviews, they're all in your face, and for the casual viewer at home, it seems like they hit success like that. You've never heard their name before, and all of a sudden they're the bee's knees. They're literally everywhere, and they try to say that it's easy. You can be like me. 3 simple steps. Give me 2 hours of your time and $1,000, and you're gonna be making as much money as you want in as little as you want. It's not realistic.
Not at all.
Yeah. So
one of my favorite quotes is from Ray Kroc, who said, "I was an overnight success, all right, but 30 years is a long, long night."
Yeah, and Thomas Edison, the great inventor, in fact, said most people. I'm gonna mess up this quote. Most people look at success and they don't recognize it because it's dressed in overalls
and looks like hard work. Yep.
They don't realize that you got to put in, you got to get dirty, you got to put in the work in order to be successful.
Yep.
Falling into the trap of, believe 20-something-year-old's Instagram account where they're showing off millions of dollars, personal jets, or expensive cars, and thinking overnight success is easy.
Yeah, the truth is, with a lot of these Instagram accounts, and is that social media lies, and usually those are rented Ferraris or Bugattis. They're results of generational inherited income.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, it's kind of like a love-hate thing to do, where I go on Instagram and I look up the hashtag entrepreneur or entrepreneur life, and all you see is these really young kids with really expensive things, and they say, "You can have this too. I only this only took me 30 days.
Let me tell you, if they have a tiger on a gold chain, it's fake. Just putting that out there.
And again, with social media, like, you look at you're scrolling through and you see this and you're like, oh, I want that. Like, I want that. You can have that. We're not saying you can't. What we're saying is that it takes a lot of hard work, and what you're seeing on social media is 100% fake.
You're seeing the results. Even if it's true what you see on social media, what you're seeing is the results of a lot of hard work. Even if they got it relatively quickly, it's probably still at least 6 months to a year of like actual hard work that you're not seeing. You're seeing them on a chartered plane, or in the back of a really expensive car, or sitting on the hood of a really expensive car. Can't stand that. But you're seeing the results of someone's hard work. You're not seeing the hard work. And when you see results like that, it's easy to think that it's easy. They're on the easy street, that they didn't have to work very hard for it. But if what you're seeing is true, you're usually seeing the results of a lot of hard work.
Or, if you're seeing how do I want to put it? When you see these pictures of these people, like, on #entrepreneur, #entrepreneur life, and you're like, you kind of get like FOMO or like envy, and I feel like a lot of people nowadays think that if they add entrepreneur or business owner to their LinkedIn profile, that suddenly like Maseratis and billions of dollars are going to show up on their front porch. And that's not true at all, because like you said, you're not seeing the hard work. You're not, you don't go to #entrepreneur life and see someone getting up at 4 a.m. in the morning, taking their kids to school at 7, and going and opening their shop.
Mm-hmm.
So, keep an open mind, keep a realistic mindset. Don't fall into this get-rich-quick scheme.
And do your own independent research. If someone's recruiting you into an organization where they say, oh yeah, just invest $1,000 and we'll give you all the tools you need to be successful in as little as 30 days or whatever. If somebody's approaching you with this, I'm not saying that it's not true, because I've been in some of these sales meetings and sales pitches, and it can work for some people who have the flexibility, that want to have a side hustle, that have that drive, and are willing to put in a lot of hours, and are, more importantly, they're willing to be told no a lot, because oftentimes these are multi-level marketing companies where you have to sell, you have to sell a product and also try to bring other people in to sell these products as well. And the more people you bring in, you get a little piece of their pie, kind of like a pyramid scheme.
Which are illegal for a reason.
But honestly, they can work for certain people, and you just have to be very outgoing and energetic and be willing to be told no a lot and be let down by other people and keep getting back up. That's definition of success in the entrepreneurial world. Like, you're gonna have a lot of hard days, you're gonna get knocked down, but it's a matter of how many times you get up and how quickly you get up, and whether or not you learn the lesson in that opportunity to move forward. So do your own independent research. Like, that's kind of what I was trying to get at, is if somebody's coming at you, if you're seeing something that seems like this would be great, yeah, I could do this, I can make a lot of money really quick with a little bit of effort, I highly encourage you to do some outside independent research. Just Google the company name and go look at reviews,
Look at Better Business Bureau. Look at Glassdoor. There's if you think it's a MLM, a multi-level marketing scheme, and I just mean like business as scheme, but put in the company name and then add MLM or multi-level marketing, and you will find reports on whether or not these companies are honest, because there are some honest to God, like good MLM style companies, but there's a lot that aren't, and there's a lot that have been sued and shut down and gotten a lot of trouble for promising their employees lots of money or trips to the Bahamas or whatever, and not delivering, or causing these people to go into even further financial hardship that they were supposed to save them from. So it's what I'm trying to get at is like, don't get caught up in like Instagram, don't get caught up in the flashy things that entrepreneurship, quote unquote, can promise you. Do your research and put in the hard work.
Yeah, so what this means is you've got to put in the hard work. I know Janine just said it, and we're echoing this. Hard work is the key to success. And that's the basic, nitty-gritty of it, is you're going to have to put in the hard work. Now, how much hard work is entirely up to you. Whether you spread your day out into 10, 11, 12 hours and you're productive for half of it, and you're making excuses that, oh, I have to work all these hours, this and that. No. I don't buy it.
I think it's Adam Grant. He's a psychologist. He came out with a book called The 4-Day Work Week, and he's also talked about a 4-hour work day, I believe. I could be missing who actually came out with that one, but that's his whole point, is like, you're more productive when you're focused. If you're not gonna be focused on a 10-hour or 8-hour day, don't make your day 10 or 8 hours. Make your day 4 hours, and you'll get a lot more done in those 4 hours than you would in those 8.
Yeah, it kind of, the old saying, work smarter, not harder. A lot of times people think as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to set your own schedule, but you have to work twice as hard to become twice as successful as somebody else. And that's not always true. It's very rarely true. In fact, if you work more efficiently, become more effective, and find better ways of doing things, and this goes into even product development. If you're a company that's creating a product that you're selling, you don't have to reinvent the wheel or invent a brand new product. You can improve upon something, improve upon a way of doing things, solve a problem, become more efficient in how you operate as an individual, so you can reduce your time at work so that you can enjoy more time at home with your family. And I think ultimately that's what most entrepreneurs go into business to do. They try and have some financial freedom, become their own boss, and be able to make an unlimited amount of money. Because most people, when you go into a job interview or a company, there's a structured pay scale. You can have, you come in and you start at $15 an hour. After 1 year, we'll give you $1 raise. After 2 years, we'll give you $2 more, and then you can start making whatever other bonuses. It's all very limited, so you can work as hard as you want, but you're only going to make this amount of money. But in entrepreneurship, business ownership, you can make an unlimited amount of money. It's all a matter of where, how, why, all the W's. What you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're doing it with, where you're doing it. Everything comes down to your efficiency, and including what you do and when you do it. Do it when it is most beneficial for you.
Absolutely. And basically, you got to put in the hard work on your time, on your hours, on your productivity schedule, but you also need to know how to balance things out. Sometimes that means staying late in the office to deal with an emergency, and sometimes that means taking a week off to go to the beach with your family. Those are two kind of extremes, but they're also not. The fact of the matter is not putting in enough work will get you nowhere, but putting in too much work will leave you burned out and miserable.
It'll leave you wanting to quit.
Yeah.
It'll leave you wanting to throw in the towel, lock up the doors, say, you know what, it's not what I wanted, I'm just gonna go work for the man and just collect my paycheck and just go home at the end of the day because I'm tired of working 20 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of working 12 hours a day. You will get burnt out. Believe me, it is so nice to be able to say, one, I own a business, and two, know that I set my schedule. I have clients, but I decided what hours of the day that I'm going to allot for client appointments. That I'm only going to do them, I have a 4-day work week, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is allotted for customer or client calls, meetings, anything else that I need to do. And then occasionally I'll meet with somebody outside of that. I will do like this podcast. I usually record it in the evenings after the regular work week or work day. It's all a matter of being true to yourself, setting your own schedule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Setting your own schedule is going to allow you to be your most productive self. And when you're more productive, you can have a more balanced life. You can go after those personal goals. You can spend more time with your friends and family. You can recharge your batteries. Soak in that bubble bath for an extra 3 hours at night.
Work like you're the boss and not an employee. Work like you have everything on the line, because you do. Everything is on the line. So the hours that you're putting in, put them in. Don't be off in your mind. Don't be elsewhere. Don't sit there and just sip your coffee looking at your computer monitor. Like, really get in there and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, most entrepreneurs I know, they work so hard.
Yep.
They're putting in, even if they only work an 8-hour day, they're putting in twice as much work in a single day than most normal employees, because an employee is there to collect a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
An employee is there for that secure income. But business owner, you're not there. You're not guaranteed a secure income. You got to get the work in, get the right people in there to help you.
Yep.
It's all about finding the balance for yourself with your schedule and what's going to ultimately make you the most efficient and productive without leading to that burnout.
Yep.
You gotta take some time off and recharge your batteries every now and then. So with that, we're gonna conclude today's episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Diorio Coaching.
That's DEIORIO Coaching.
You can also email us at
Rodney@RodneyDiorio.com.
or you can visit our website for updates on events or schedule a coaching call or a coaching consultation with me on our website at
www.dioriocoaching.com. And we've also started a live webinar series the first Wednesday of every month, where Rodney will be discussing popular business issues and answering your questions 100% live. This next one that's coming up is going to be on July 7th at 8 p.m. PST, 11 a.m. EST. You can register now on our website. Again, that's www.dioriocoaching.com. and the registration is under the toolbox.
Just to clarify, that's just going to be 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. I know Janine said PST and EST. That's not what we're on right now. It's actually daylight time, not standard time currently. But
What? Apparently I don't know the difference between standard time and daylight time.
sorry, just wanted to clarify.
So if you're on the West Coast, 8 a.m. If you're on the East Coast, 11 a.m. If you're somewhere in the Midwest or Mountain Time, it's going to be somewhere in between those.
Yes.
Anyways, join us the first Wednesday of every month. The next one's July 7th. We're going to be talking about different business issues and answering your questions. You can get some free business coaching out of it. Get to know us a little bit better. So with that, Rodney's rules.
So Rodney's rules for the day is going to be show up like it's your first day every day and follow your instincts. Show up every single day for work like it is the very first day. Show up with that excitement, that energy, that professionalism, that desire to learn new things and do great things. If you show up, and this goes for anything, if you show up in your business, in your relationships with your colleagues, your clients, your
Significant other.
your spouses, show up and treat every day like it's that first day when you're excited, jovial, eager to learn and do great things. If you show up like that every single day, you are going to find success. I absolutely guarantee it. And when it comes down to it, follow your instincts. Everything you've done to get yourself to this point in life has taught you valuable lessons, and knowing yourself. Follow yourself in your business. Follow your instincts. Go with your gut. There's nothing wrong with following your instincts. Make sure you're making an informed decision and go with it and trust yourself. Don't second guess it.
If you're a fan of NCIS, channel your inner
Gibbs.
Gibbs gut.
Yes, Leroy Jethro Gibbs. Follow your gut. With that, have an amazing day, everybody. Get some good, productive work done, and make sure you get home to your family.
Have a good one.
Bye.